Welcome to the Credit Union Sales and Marketing Podcast. Your hosts, Bill McKenna, Paul Robert, and special guests discuss ideas for creating alignment in your sales and marketing efforts and ways to accelerate growth. Now let's get started.
Good morning and welcome to the Sales and Marketing Podcast. I'm your co-host, Bill McKenna, and with me is Paul. Paul, say hello.
Hey, hello. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sound like a radio DJ. Good morning, everybody.
I was purposely doing that, actually. I was trying to do some spots for that podcast, and I had to record 17 times, I think, to get it the way it sounded right. I was like, I hate how that sounds. So anyway, hey, it's great to be here again, and we have a special guest with us today. And Jason, you don't know this yet, but you're our official second guest on our podcast, so we're going to give you the same thing the first guest got, which is nothing. I'm just kidding. But we really appreciate Jason being with us. Jason Causa from Reviews Up. Why don't you tell people about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on as your esteemed second guest ever. It's quite an honor. I am the co-founder of Reviews Up, which is a tech platform that helps businesses, credit unions, financial institutions generate sentiment in both public, private, and employee feedback. And we basically give you all of the tools to engage with your customers and basically attract that sentiment and then use that sentiment for marketing. We offer executive reporting, a lot of great notifications for management to analyze and respond to those reviews. And it really makes a phenomenal impact on credit union marketing success, which is really where I think the benefit lies in this podcast today.
Yeah, for sure. And Jason, obviously we've worked together with some clients already, and we've seen some amazing results. The platform is quite impressive. We'll get into some details later on what it does, but getting started. Paul, you and I in this podcast recently, we've been going through these 7 steps of branding, and we know how important reputation is. And you work on that side of the house quite a bit regarding reputation, correct?
Yeah, we encourage frontline employees to talk about their reputation, talk about what makes them different and why a prospective member should choose them. What a great way to use success stories and to use actual feedback from members about what they love about the credit union. So I'm really intrigued to hear more about what Jason brings to the table.
So Jason, why don't you talk about a little bit more about the importance of reviews? I know we've had that conversation with many of our clients, and I do not think most credit unions understand the importance, and businesses in general understand the importance of how reputation management and online reviews can really impact their business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's hard to tell you a little about it because it has a lot of impact. And I know this is a limited time segment here, so I'll try to be brief. But at its base level, you really want to know, and the sentiment part of it is you simply want to know what your customers are thinking. If everyone I'm old enough to remember the old feedback boxes where you drop a card in, right, and tell the business what you think. Well, obviously we don't need that anymore. We have a lot more efficient ways of doing that, right? But what we do is we allow credit unions to capture private feedback, which would be completely offline, only for management benefit, but also public reviews, which are most common. People refer to Google reviews, Facebook, Yelp, everything. But not only from your customers, we can actually allow your employees to leave anonymous vetted reviews on places like Indeed and on Glassdoor and places like that are going to be helpful for you to grow and attract the brightest and best, most talented people.
Yeah, What I think is interesting, I know we've had this conversation. You talk about the 3 pillars of reputation relevance. Tell us what they are and what kind of how you describe those.
Yeah, quality, volume, and recency are really the 3 most important criteria when you're talking about the public-facing reviews. Quality, obviously, the stars, right? So you want to get, very positive reviews, 4 stars better. We say strive for 4.5. That's kind of the mental benchmark that most people have in considering a business to be reputable. The volume, that's another one. So we'll meet with people and talk with them, and they'll say, oh, no, we're a 4.8. And then you dig a little deeper, and they've got 3 reviews, and they're from 4 years ago. So there's very little relevance. And not just in public relevance. Actually, Google doesn't give as much weight to old reviews, and it's simply because it's unreliable information. If you think of a restaurant, they may have changed chefs or managers or things like that. So what you've reviewed, that dish that you enjoyed 3 years ago is no longer on the menu. So you always have to keep a steady stream and provide your customers a very easy pathway to continue to cultivate reviews. The most successful businesses, this is a part of their ecosystem, and they know how impactful it is. There's an old adage that all roads lead to Rome. In business reputation, all marketing pathways eventually lead to Google in one form or another, right? So you could do all these great marketing pieces, direct mail, television, whatever you do. At the end of the day, that customer journey is going to start with a search engine, and it's most likely going to be Google, because they're not going to commit to memory your URL and type it in exactly. They're going to type your name in, and then they're going to be presented nicely with a nice summary of what everyone thinks about your business and then your competitors. So that's why it's so important, just for the early visible confidence boost that it gives your customer. If someone's looking for a loan or to create a deposit account or something like that, when they type that in, they want to know that their money's going to be safe, that they're going to get good service, that they're going to get good rates, and all the other competitive things that credit unions need to consider. But by having those reviews, what happens is you're going to build relevancy with the search engine, right? So Google will reward you very, very clearly and plainly by improved position and lower ad costs because of your relevance, right? So there's a little did you know fact that no one knows, is that if you do a Google Map search, there's a little tiny thing next to where it says results that you can click on and see the methodology. And Google will tell you why they're ranking things the way they do. And if you read that, inspect it, it's going to say the results provided are 3 factors, and it's relevance, prestige, and distance, right? 2 of those things are related to your business reputation. That's how important it is. So in real world examples, when people search for best credit union near me, best auto loans near me, all those sorts of the very common search terms, if you have a strategy and you're cultivating reviews, getting a steady stream of them, you will generate so much relevancy with the search engines that you're going to be the top of all of your competitors, right? You don't need to pay for that sponsored position and all that. You're going to be there. So you're going to command a lot of authority. And then if you use a tech widget like what we provide, you can import all of those reviews back onto your own website for even further SEO relevance, right? So it's more impactful than any blog content or anything that you can put on your site. You can actually flow your reviews, real customer sentiment, back onto your own website, and it's like a magic bullet in marketing.
Well, that ties right into customer experience with everything you talk about, doesn't it?
Totally does, because we want people to have great experiences and then go tell their family and friends about those great experiences. Well, here's a great avenue to do that. Jason, how do you encourage customers and members to do online reviews? Is there a secret sauce that you recommend or talk to your clients about?
Yeah, for sure. So most of the credit union executive teams that we speak with will either not understand the impact or be fearful that it's going to take a lot of human resources to manage this. We hear this all the time, right? So what we've done with our platform is we've made it very easy for credit unions to activate a lot of touch points for their customers to generate that sentiment, right? We want to make the process very, very simple for their members to, with as simple as, 1 click in 10 seconds. That's about it. They can either, we provide all kinds of touch points for in-branch, right? So you can engage just simply by tapping your device. We have little NFC beacons. You can scan codes. You can put them on, if you have monitors in your branch lobbies, scannables. We also provide direct links through text and email that you can send out. You can put engagement links in newsletters, things like that. So we do make it very, very easy for the institutions to engage and give a very simple pathway to their customers to leave a review in just a matter of seconds. So it really couldn't be any easier than that. And not only that, one thing that most people don't realize is to leave a review on a public platform like Google, you need to have a Google account. So, a lot of people have one, but a lot of people also don't. So what happens if you don't have one? You're kind of at a dead end. But with our platform, we actually have our own proprietary review gathering channel. It's called the Up channel. So somebody with just an email can leave a review. You don't have to log in. You don't have to create an account.
Nice.
And you'll still be able to capture that sentiment and publish it on your own website and share it to your socials and all that sort of thing. So we're the only company that actually provides that service, and I think it's a very important one.
I was just looking at that. It is fascinating because, if we have to eliminate obstacles, right? And that's the problem. What we've seen, Paul, is many times in the past, the credit unions might even know the importance of reviews, but they're not getting enough because they don't have the tools in place, the technology or the convenience to make that happen quickly. But what I just was looking at a client that Jason has yesterday, happens to be a community bank. And the amount of reviews was incredible. But what was really interesting to me was they were equal between Google and the Reviews Up platform. They were equal, the amount they got. So it proved us that probably half of those people never would have given reviews had they not had the way to do that easily.
Right. Well, and just like any kind of feedback, Jason, you want to make it easy and simple. And so it sounds like this does that. And then also you want it to be immediate, right? So I loved hearing you say while they're still in the branch, while they're still on the phone, they can submit the review.
Yeah.
Yeah. We provide little cards for drive-through tubes as well. So that's cool. Another one. If
Love it.
They can stick it right in with the drive-through transaction and get scans that way too.
All right, so we fully anticipate our credit union clients to get glowing reviews, 5 stars, etc. But we all know from our own personal experiences that there's negativity, right, to online reviews. How do you handle that, or how do you advise your clients to handle those negative reviews that come through?
No, it's a great question, and a lot of times people are fearful of turning on a faucet, right? So they're like, geez, if we turn on a faucet and let everybody leave a review, we might not like the results. Our data across all of our industries suggests that more than 90%, and it's closer to 95%, of all invited reviews are positive.
Okay.
Right? And that's a massive number, right? So that just lets you know that you shouldn't be fearful to ask your customers to leave a review. You're more often likely to get an organic negative review if you don't ask them, right? You want to stay ahead of it and be proactive. If you do get a negative review, and again, there's different kinds of negative reviews. Obviously, there's authentic ones. Hey, everybody makes mistakes, right? And sometimes people call you out on it. And the kinds of people that leave negative reviews tend to be very passionate. That's just their nature.
Right.
So they can also be turned into evangelists if you're able to correct the issue that they were concerned with.
Turn it around. Yep.
Right? So they're very emotional people. Let's just say they were upset about something that was not super serious, like maybe the drive-through or something was inconvenient, whatever. Mm-hmm. They leave you a negative review. That's an opportunity, right? That's a great opportunity to show what you're made of as an institution, right? So somebody complained. Our platform allows you to reply publicly, so people can see you take these very seriously, right? Management gets notifications when these poor reviews come in, same as the good ones, and then you can take action, identify it. Not only that, you can actually invite that customer, if you've made them happy, to edit their review with one single link.
Nice.
Completely compliant, right? You're not trying to hide anything. You're actually making the customer happy who was unhappy. And because they tend to be emotional people, you can actually send them a text or an email with a link. With one click, it will open up the prior negative review and allow them to edit it based on the new experience. So
love it.
That's another service that we provide.
Hey, let me follow up on that real quick, because you were talking about notifications. With your system, you get real-time notifications, don't you? I mean, it's instantaneous. Am I right?
It is. That's a fact. So you can actually give different permissions to different levels of users. So if you have a branch manager that you only want to get notifications for that particular branch, we can set that up custom. Higher level management can get notified of all reviews, and we actually have some compliance filters that will identify like serious complication and discriminatory terms. If there's anything with that sentiment in it, it'll be highlighted a top priority. Like, somebody said something about, this compliance term, and, that will go right to the top. And that will also be generated in our AI executive report too. It'll identify everything. So I know the NCUA has compliance items and checklists that the examiners ask, and they ask you if you have procedures for complaints and remedies. And since we do have that, you're being very proactive if you are activating a system for reputation management like ours.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I think that's fascinating. We love that word in the financial services industry and credit unions, the word compliance. It's so exciting to everyone. But the truth is, if people are complaining about something, the examiners want to know, are you fixing these problems that you're having when they come up? And they are real. This is a great way for you to monitor that and figure it out. And Paul, you say this all the time to your customers and clients that we work with. You tell them if you're getting bad reviews or bad complaints about something and there's a problem, we need to fix it. We can't ignore it. We have to fix that problem. So this is a great way. Reviews provides that channel to see what people are complaining about and how we can improve our service to them.
It's an opportunity, Bill. I mean, and that's really what we're asking for is opportunities to wow our members or impress our members. Hey, Jason, I wanted to talk about the other half of your equation where you were talking about this is a good feedback tool for employees as well to assess their satisfaction. Equally important for our clients is the retention of top talent, the acquisition and retention, of course. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would, please.
Yeah, so it has a very big impact on hiring and human resources in general. So one of the things that you always want to do and most businesses fail to do is engage with their current employees and really find out what they think, right? So there are very popular platforms such as Indeed and Glassdoor, things like that, where they give employees the ability to leave anonymous, detailed information about their current employers, right? So when you're looking to hire and expand, all of this information is factored into things like job listings and all that. So if I would encourage everybody to check out their Indeed profile and make sure that, for one, they have one established, because a lot of times we see people don't even pay attention. Get one established, branded with all of your visuals, but then don't be afraid of your employees' sentiment, right? Because like I said before with the public reviews, your employees, even though it is anonymous and they can say whatever they want, it will generally be positive. And the higher volume you have reflects very well on you as an employer. Mm-hmm. And again, you become the magnet for talent when you are, and not just with the employee reviews, but the public reviews in general. In fact, I was with a chief marketing officer of a community bank, and they're just eating everyone's lunch because they're using our platform and they're having a lot of success with it, but they're also able to really attract a lot of employees away from competitors. And the number one question that they ask in their interviews is, why do you want to work here? And
I love it.
Common, what they say is that you guys have a really good reputation. You've got great reviews. So not only does it affect the people that want to start deposit accounts and take out loans, it affects the people that are attracted to you for employment.
Who wants to work at a bank or credit union where the customers are coming in every day chewing your face off, So exactly. We want to work somewhere where there's a positive environment. So
and what I love about the platform too, and I know we don't really want this to be a sales pitch necessarily for the platform, but to be honest with you, it is kind of, because it's such a great platform and it really can help move the needle. What we're really talking about is the importance of reputation. But the private feedback part, I happen to know that in the Lehigh Valley here, there's a hockey team called the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and it's a great team. It's the Flyers team, and basically, they use the platform for private reviews about customer experience. Tell us about that. I think it's fascinating, Jason.
Yeah, private feedback is one that we really, really push hard for. A lot of businesses don't appreciate it as much as the public reviews because it's less visible, but very impactful. So a lot of people will just simply not leave a public review. They're just private people. They don't want their name associated with something. So what you can do is, if they choose not to leave you a public review, they'll have options to leave a private feedback, and that can be completely customized. So what's nice about that is you can link to our private reviews through surveys, through emails, through customer newsletters, and you can set them up by category, right? So if you want to know how your tellers are viewed, your drive-through windows, your hours, your services, your rates, things like that, they can all be set up with promoter scores, simple questions, little mini surveys, but that is so helpful information for management to just analyze that sentiment, right? And see, maybe there's a large undercurrent of people that wish you had better hours or, something, or maybe there's a teller who's a little unfriendly, and you really want to know that. So yeah, the hockey team, they use us on their big jumbotron, and people can scan it and enter contests, but they can also use it in their VIP suites, and somebody can scan it and find out if the chicken fingers were cold or the beer was too warm. And then there's notifications that can go right to the manager on duty, right, instantly. So, hey, the guest in suite 201 just said that, they ran out of beer or something, so you might want to send somebody. So there's a lot that we can do with it. But at the end of the day, for credit union management, it's just the most invaluable information you could possibly have is getting inside the mind of your customers, knowing what they like and don't like, and then using that information to make improvements.
And you know that no one likes cold beer, or everyone likes cold beer rather, and hot chicken fingers. But the other way around isn't so good.
Especially when you're at a Flyers game because they're so lousy, you gotta have beer cold.
Okay. Oh, boy, Paul, there's a lot of people that got to listen in this market, so you might have just made some enemies there. But no, that's okay. Hey, I'm suffering through the worst season again of the Giants. I had such hopes this year, and I don't know. It's the same old story. It's been bad. But let's not get into that right now. Actually, we could. It's probably more interesting in some ways. But let's wrap this up with a few more thoughts here. What have you seen, Jason, about credit unions? Like, where do they start? If they're going to get started, obviously, they need a platform to do it, right? Because just getting out, we may say we want online reviews, but unless we have the tools to make it happen, it's unlikely it's really going to happen. It's going to be a very slow process to get what we want.
Yeah, so organically, I mean, I have seen people try to attempt to do this on their own, and usually it'll start off okay, and then just like anything else, all things just kind of fall by the wayside. So it is very helpful for the credit unions to work with a partner, that provides the technology, the touch points, the engagement, the reporting, all of those things. And it's very easy for us to onboard this, right? So if there was a credit union with a few branches or as many as 100 branches, it really doesn't matter. We can onboard very quickly, set up the tools, send them the kits for all of the branches to, have the scannables and the cards and things like that. So it's not very labor intensive on our end. From the credit union side, all we need to do is get permission to connect some key channels, and that can be done simply with, anyone that has that permission at the IT level. And then install our widgets on their website. And again, that's just a little tiny piece of code. There's nothing proprietary in there or anything that has to be a big concern for any security. So the onboarding is very, very simple. The biggest obstacle is that I think when we talk with credit unions, they think it's going to create more work for somebody. And that's not true, right? We automate almost the entire process. So there's very little other than engaging the employees to ask, but passively you'll still acquire, even if you have the worst employees in the world that are embarrassed to ask for a review, you'll still passively acquire hundreds of reviews just because people are going to, see the things and scan the cards and all that sort of thing. So it's a force multiplier.
Yeah, and we've seen it definitely move the needle as far as reputation. Paul, are there any other thoughts regarding, customer experience, anything, how this ties in, or anything you'd like to ask Jason?
Well, first of all, let me piggyback on what you were just talking about there, Jason. Is this a marketing initiative? Is this a retail initiative? Is it a credit union-wide initiative? Who are you usually talking to and working with? Who should be driving this engagement going forward?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Paul, because it really affects so many different areas of the credit union. Obviously, marketing content is, so if you're running digital ad campaigns, for an example, if you activate the reviews, you may lower your digital ad costs by like 30% simply because of the relevance boost. So the platform pays for itself, many, many times over, but your ads are going to get better positioned. They're going to cost less. You're going to get higher conversions, right? So when you're in highly competitive regulated industries like banking and finance, when you're trying to attract people for loan products and all that sort of thing, it's you and everybody else who's competing for the same business, right? So at the end of the day, the relevance is going to make the difference and allow you to get better conversions on all of your marketing efforts. Marketing executives would certainly want, human resource executives would want this. Senior level executives in retail lending would want this because, if you improve reviews, if you're a vice president of lending, you're going to get more loans. You're going to get more money out the door. And it's very linear, right? So we see the impact that it has across every facet of the institution. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know who's going to be in charge of making that decision, because it really benefits everybody. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, there's a lot that we can do.
The only other question I have, Bill, is how do I get one of those cool caps that Jason's wearing, you know?
Well, I don't know. I have a Giants cap down here if you want it. I could grab
since you haven't come through with, logo caps for our podcast yet.
No.
I'll just have to wear an up cap.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have to.
Tell us what color you want, and we'll make sure we send them.
There you go, Paul. Look at that. You
Other
got it hooked
colors.
up. Yeah, that's
Wow.
right.
We've got a lot of colors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty special. So yeah, hey, this was a great conversation. I really think there's so much here. What I would encourage any listeners, if they're interested in checking out what Reviews Up does, we certainly would be glad to connect you with Jason and spend some time looking at it. I really honestly believe, as I look at marketing and some of the challenges we have today, this can move the needle like nothing you've seen. And I can tell you also, there are other platforms out there, of course, and there's some listeners that have some of those platforms. We're not saying they're bad, but I've got to tell you, this is a very intuitive platform. It's also very affordable, which is important. As credit unions look at budgets, they're always concerned. This is a platform that's surprisingly affordable for what you get, and the power of it is impressive. I know that we've again implemented multiple clients. It's been a very smooth and easy process for them. So, any final thoughts, Jason, Paul, that you want to talk about, and then we'll shut her down for this episode.
Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you again for the time. And I would just encourage any of, the members that are watching this podcast to reach out and let us do a complimentary reputation audit. It's a service that we provide. There's no obligation whatsoever. We'll give you kind of a 10,000 foot view of your current reputation and give you some best practice tips, and, under no obligation to use anything that we do. It's really just an educational process, but it really is eye opening. And, generally, I think everybody who takes the audit, it's a 30-minute, online Zoom audit. They're left with a lot of really good information and new direction in their management.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, this is perfect. And thanks so much, Jason. This was a really, really good conversation today. And we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking to you again sometime in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Hey, we'll catch up again on the next episode.